Skyhawk 7774 Juliet Langley Regional Tower, winds 233 at Niner runway 7, cleared for takeoff departure to Trinity.
Delta 2259er pushback and engine start approved. Report when ready for taxi. Skyhawk 3 Alpha Zulu cleared to land runway 35, winds 273 at 16. 570 Salt Lake Center. I'm not seeing your transponder. Confirm squawking 1742 mode C. Ident one more time for me. 570. Welcome to Glacier. Contact ground on 121.6.
Piper 555 November Sierra New York approach. Good evening. Farmingdale altimeter 2974.
Citation 972 Mike Kilo Rio ground taxi to holding point runway 20 left via Bravo, hold short of runway. Information Kilo is current. Report when ready for departure. Delta 2259er contact tower on 118.9er when ready for departure.
Golf Mike Mike. After departure, climb and maintain altitude 3,000, turn left, heading 270 degrees.
QEJ 905. Charlie, climb and maintain flight level 150, squawk 5224. Delta 2259er contact Varna approach on 124.6. Allegiant Air 396 cleared to Cincinnati via the ended one departure, then as filed. Maintain 4,000. Expect flight level 36010 minutes after departure. Departure on 125.3. Squawk 4523. Expect runway 18 for departure.
Papa Tango Delta Romeo Whisky Torre de Jacarepaguá, ventos calmos, pista 3 liberado para decolar.
American 35, taxi to runway 10 right via Tango November Tango Quebec Juliet. Contact tower on 119.3 when ready for departure.
JetBlue 84, copy, welcome to Orlando. Have a good evening.
American 1221, PG Indianapolis, sender Roger. JetBlue 84, turn left heading 100 vectors for the runway 23 approach. Contact Orlando Tower on 118.45 when established on final.
3-1, Sierra Mike understood. Continue present heading until established on the localizer for runway 26 left approach.
Rouge 596 Montreal Tower, wind 080 at 7 runway 6 right, cleared for takeoff. Fly runway heading until reaching 1000, then on course. JetBlue 2984, Orlando Tower, winds calm. Runway 18 right, cleared to land. Skyhawk 7774 Juliet Langley Regional Tower, winds 233 at Niner runway 7, cleared for takeoff departure to Trinity.
Delta 2259er pushback and engine start approved. Report when ready for taxi. Skyhawk 3 Alpha Zulu cleared to land runway 35, winds 273 at 16. 570 Salt Lake Center. I'm not seeing your transponder. Confirm squawking 1742 mode C. Ident one more time for me. 570.
Hey everybody, it is good to see you and welcome to another Vectors to Final. I'm still amazed we find enough things to talk about each week. I sat down to do this week's stuff and was like, what am I going to say? And then as I was reviewing all the change logs and everything else, it occurred to me that we had lots of things to talk about. So very excited about this. Also, shout out to Jeff Myers in the YouTube pre-chat. There was some discussion about landings. And Jeff said that his landings are nice and smooth after the third or fourth bounce, which made me laugh. And it sounds like Jeff and you and I could probably we have a similar landing style. I thought that was funny. Thanks, buddy. I got a whole bouncing. Oh, that's good, Speedy. Yeah, bouncing is a tactical approach to landing. Make sure the runway's firmly planted. I like it. I'm glad to know that we have a lot of pilots who are at a similar skill level as me, and there's a reason that I should be in simulators and not in real airplanes. Part of that is because after watching Vectors to Final, I think there's a decent chance that no insurance company would ever insure me. So, there's that too. My wife is nodding with enthusiasm that I may never be able to attain a fully insured status on a private pilot flight, and therefore nobody in their right mind would let me fly their airplane. So let's dive in here to what we got to talk about. We always start with what's new. I love talking about what we've accomplished in the last week or so. So here we go. First of all, 42 bugs fixed in the last 7 days, most of those ATC related. Oftentimes we fix, 2 bugs and we create one new one, but, that's forward progress. So thank you for your patience as we work through that. The experimental server has been extremely useful for us. If you're not sure what that is, take a look at last week's Vectors to Final, where we talked about a shift towards a slightly different release strategy in order to get a little more stability. Doesn't always work in terms of keeping new bugs from appearing in the primary server. We have a new one right now that's kind of funny that I'll go squash as soon as we're done here, where it's telling people to turn to a heading of 370. I'll get that taken care of. But for the most part, the new release strategy is working really, really well. New feature we added, I think this one's kind of cool. Comm logs on the website will now allow you to replay all of the audio from your flight. So if you go to the website, you go to flight logs. Go to the pilot portal, then go to flight logs. You can see both your previous flights on a map with either a VFR sectional overlay or an IFR low or high sectional overlay. See the path and little chunks where you can actually see the ATC comms. There's also another area where you can go in and actually see the comm log itself. And on that page, we added the ability so that you can hear the audio that goes with each transmission, whether that's incoming audio or outgoing audio. We did find a small bug that I'm looking into where sometimes the pilot audio looks like it's dead air. We're looking into that. We'll figure it out and get that fixed for you here as soon as we can. We also made significant changes to the IFR arrival logic, bug fixes for vectoring, direct twos, that situation where we get the impossible turn as we're approaching the fix. Most of those should be significantly improved, if not fully resolved now, but I'm not super confident that I'm ready to put all that to bed yet. I think we've still got some issues there that we'll continue to work out, but it should be significantly better now. Fixes. I found an interesting bug last night where special requests for a runway on arrival weren't being granted. So you would request a runway, it would acknowledge the runway request and say that it was your new arrival runway, and then it would forget about it 10 seconds later. I think that's fixed now. Let me know if not. And then we also released app version 2620 yesterday. There's nothing significant in there that I think you guys are going to notice other than, nothing that you'll notice. The big thing for us on our side with 2620 is it includes some new scaffolding, a tool we call Sidecar that will allow us to deploy some of our new ideas and features to you guys. So that runs as its own executable on the side, blah, blah, blah. But 2620 includes Sidecar. Nothing that can do yet, but there's some stuff that we'll be able to do with it in the future. So very excited about that. And then special thanks to iFred, Sven, who you met about 3 weeks ago. Uncle Harley has been given a revamp, hopefully a little smarter now. Uncle Harley is one of those things that was such a fantastic idea, and then the execution fell a little flat, in my opinion. I'm sure you guys would agree. It's gotten a little bit of an upgrade. I think there's still a lot more we can do with that, so, stay tuned there. I'm particularly proud of this one this week, though, response times. We are always working on a number of things, improving our ability to detect readbacks, right? Where you read something back and it sometimes will confuse that as a request, and then it gives you the and then it grants your request, and then you read that back, and it thinks that that's a new request, and so you read that back, and it's I call it the read back loop. The best way to break the read back loop is to just stop reading it back. It'll leave you alone. But this is one of the funny things when we're trying to build, a true AI-based air traffic control system, is teaching it the difference between a readback and a request. We've talked about this in the past. I'll mention it again here because I think it's worth mentioning. I love to use this example because it's perfect. If you're on a VFR flight and air traffic control says, enter left downwind for runway 22, report midfield. And then you read that back and you say left downwind 22 midfield. That's your read back, right? And then about 15 seconds later, you say left downwind 22 midfield. Now, one of those is a read back and one of them is not, right? The first one is a read back. The second one is a report of a position. But the wording is identical. You used precisely the same words in each spot. And therefore, it's difficult to teach the AI the difference between the readback and the request when they're both worded identically. Remember, this is the interpretation layer on SayIntentions is a language model, right? It's looking at the language to determine intent. So this is a particularly challenging problem. Other ATC programs out there, there's lots of them out there, they solve the readback problem by just making it so you just press a button for the readback. Well, that's easy, right? You told it what you're doing is a readback, and therefore it knows. We're trying to be better than that. We're trying to mirror the way it works in the real world. And this is something that when we first launched, it was quite frankly a train wreck back in January when we first launched, and it's slowly getting better. We only have a couple of scenarios now where this is still a problem, but altitude assignments and controller initial check-ins seem to be the two that are the most problematic. And we continue to whittle away at that. We continue to get better at it. And I'm hopeful that the day will come when we're like 99.9% correct. Right now, we're about 95%. It's not super common that this happens, but when it does happen, it's kind of a buzzkill. We're always working on enforcing incorrect readbacks, getting better at that. We're always working on improving and adding enforcement of instructions. In fact, altitude enforcement, which has been on our experimental server for some time now, I'm about to push that live because it's quite stable now. Improvements to our voice recognition and improving our voices. These are things that are just ongoing tasks that we always we're just always working on it. All 5 of those probably get some amount of attention from me every single day. And then the last one there that I want to talk about now is improving our response times. This one's really exciting to me because back when we launched in January, our response times were right around 17 seconds. You can picture that, right? You say something, and then you sit there and you wait 17 seconds for ATC to reply back to you. What we had back in January, God bless those of you who decided to sign up with us back then, because what we had was very different. It was VFR only. It was US only. We had these 17-second response times. I mean, it was pretty rough around the edges, right? But one thing that we promised and continue to promise is that we'll continue to get better. It'll continue to get faster. It'll continue to get smarter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And true to that promise, I think this graph really shows our commitment to improving those response times, both from the perspective of making sure that making sure that the AI is responding quickly. We do get noticeable improvements on a regular basis from the launch of newer, faster AI models, but also just improvements to the way that the processing on the ATC logic works as well. So if you can see on the chart, we made massive strides between January and March. Man, I remember in March being super proud of our 8-second response times. By the time we reached FS Expo, we were right around 6 seconds. I was super excited about this, and I'm really, really proud to say that as of the last week, our response times are now averaging between 4 and 5 seconds, right around 4.5 seconds now. Now, I know what you might say. You might say, well, I don't understand. I've had them take way longer than that. And the answer is yes, this is an average. Sometimes they're a little bit longer. and sometimes they're a little bit shorter. We have some responses that are coming back in less than a second now. And we have some responses that are more complex that are taking 8-9 seconds to come back. So this is something, but on average, over the past 7 days, our response times have been 4.6 seconds. So this is an enormous win for us because from day one, we've said that a realistic response time would be between 4 and 5 seconds. That's where ATC feels like it does in real life, right? I know there's lots of other ATC programs out there, and they give you an instant response. And guys, that's just not how it works in real life. Anybody who's flown a real plane knows that response back from ATC, you might get it back in 1 or 2 seconds. It might take them 10 seconds. And I'm really proud of the fact that we finally arrived there. I'd really like to try to shave about 1 more second off of it. But I think at that point, we will, if it gets any faster than that, if we get any faster than, 3.5, 4 seconds, we'll start introducing artificial delays so that it continues to maintain the correct feel and cadence of real air traffic control. So I'm super excited that we're right on the cusp of being able to do that. And the response times that we have now are darn close to realistic. And considering where we were back in January, where all I could do was apologize, this is an enormous leap forward. I'd love for you to keep this chart in mind as you're paying attention to all of the things that might be frustrating or weird about SayIntentions right now, because this chart, I think, demonstrates our commitment to getting better and better and better. And I think everything that we have and everything that we work on, and I think I could put literally any feature or capability of SayIntentions on this chart, and the graph curve would look very similar. So very excited about this. Couple questions that came up. One was about helicopters, actually, helo ops and things like that. We've made some improvements on that recently. I didn't mention them here, but there have been some improvements there. I'll continue to chip away at that. None of that's particularly complicated to fix and implement, but I'll continue to work with that and continue to get that better. Clickable frequencies in VR, we actually do support already. If you're using the SayIntentions VR plugin that we have available for download on our website in the download section, then you can actually click the frequencies inside of VR and it will automatically change them for you. So already there, and yeah, if you haven't used that, it's really cool. The other thing that we do for VR, by the way, is, and doesn't even have to be VR, but if you go into the app settings, we have a setting or a feature called Auto Tune, and if you turn that on, anytime ATC says a frequency out loud, that frequency will go into your standby for COM 1. This is the perfect way to do it for VR, because if ATC says, contact tower on 118.3, you'll look down and you'll see 118.3 is in your standby for COM 1, and all you have to do is press the button to make it active. This keeps you in control of the timing on those handoffs and things like that. But you don't have to use the mouse wheel to try scrolling around frequencies while you're inside of VR. So huge benefit there with auto tune. We've had that for some time, but a lot of people don't know about it. Ben, you're asking about ACARES, CPDLC, etc. Soon is the answer. Stay tuned. We're trying to do something really neat here. It's not ready, but at some point we'll be able to make an announcement there. Very excited about this, and we're committed to doing this in a way that is interesting and fun and exciting. But timing is unknown at this point, so stay tuned. All right, let's move forward here. What are we working on right now? First of all, fixes and improvements for readbacks versus requests. I mentioned this before. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that it was on the list because it's been getting a little more attention in our Discord lately. By the way, I love that we're down to stuff like this as being the stuff that gets attention. So that's pretty exciting to me. We're also very hard at work right now on early traffic injection proof of concepts. This is an enormous project. We're taking a very unique approach to this so that we can make sure that we don't have to raise our prices in order to support all of the extra voices that this will require that we generate. And that's a really important point, guys, is that everybody wants lots and lots and lots of traffic in the air, and we want to be able to hear them talking to ATC. but actually the voices are the single largest cost that we incur. So we need to make sure that we're doing this in a way that ensures that we don't have to raise the price. We're not going to do that. We're not going to raise our price to make this stuff work. But that also means we have to get a little bit creative with how it's implemented. So stay tuned for that. We're very excited about this, and hopefully we have some things to show you in the near future. Voices. We've been doing a little bit of a systemic review the last week or so of our voices, and I can honestly say that we have way too many not so great voice samples that have made it into the rotation. We're going to do a kind of a total revamp analysis of our voices and try to get everything back to the stage where it sounds more realistic, even if that means there's a little bit less variety in the voices, and even if that means that we use a lot fewer of the crowdsourced or the crowd voice voices. So those of you who've submitted your voices and they're live right now, I hope you don't feel bad if they become unlive. It's nothing to do with you. It's nothing to do with your voice. It's nothing to do with your communication style. But this phase of AI is so early, and we need those responses to come back so fast that the voice cloning, frankly, sometimes just doesn't take. We'll continue to revisit it. We'll continue to get better at it. The tech will continue to improve. But for right now, if your voice ends up getting pulled from the rotation, please don't feel bad. I'm sure everyone would agree that we've got a lot of odd voices in there, and we're going to try to get those out of there and really get back to these higher quality voices that we have. A number of our crowd voice, your voices, have turned out quite well, and we'll be keeping them in there. So thank you for giving us more to choose from in the pools. We appreciate it. Dynamic departure still getting worked on. Navigraph has provided us with a V2 of their airspace data. I'm very excited about this because we think that it's going to fix a lot of the issues we have of very strange handoffs occurring, where you get a handoff. And the most famous one is this area in the UK where it can't decide whether it's London control or Scottish control that's inside of a particular sector that owns the sector. The V2 data of the Navigraph data provides a much more higher resolution look at who owns a particular airspace, and we're now working on getting that implemented and talked about for the last 10 minutes or so. The voices are getting a rework there, so. And yes, just a reminder, when we do the vectors to final, if you're having a particular issue or something like that, the chat room during vectors to final is probably not going to get you a great support experience. If you want to jump into Discord with your issue, we'd be very happy to discuss that. And Bennett, you're asking about traffic injector. I just talked about that as well. So maybe just scroll back about 2 minutes, and you'll hear what I say about that. Jeff, my grandbaby got mixed into my voice. It can go. Yeah, I am constantly amused at the number of voices that we sort of auto cloned into the AI mix, where you can hear a small child in the background, usually like a baby crying or a toddler crying or something like that, and it is hilarious to me. But yes, those will be the first ones that we pull out as we do our voice revamp here. So it's an excellent example of that. I appreciate it. Yeah. Let's move forward here. Bug fixes are always stuff that we're working on. And then, of course, what's coming later. This is our long-term roadmap, and this doesn't change too much, but traffic that matches the chatter, terrain awareness, scenarios for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We're starting to lay some of the groundwork and the scaffolding needed to support those. And, of course, traffic-aware instructions, traffic injection, living world, all of that stuff that we talked about a few minutes ago. One thing that I want to talk about is the team. Just a little reminder about the team, and I'm actually excited to announce this too. Tom Marajin, I don't know how you pronounce it. I don't know how he pronounces his Discord name. That's how I say it in my head. Marajin, Marajin, has joined our dev team and is working on a number of interesting projects right now that I think we're going to be able to show you in the near future. Oh, let me pause for a second to answer this question. Eric says, does SI get weather info from any other source than Navigraph? The answer is we don't get it from Navigraph at all. All of the weather data comes from real-world MEDAR data. So that data is at most airports updated every hour or so. So no, we don't use Navigraph for the weather data. Like I said, it's real world MEDAR data. So if you want the ATC weather to match your in-sim weather, you need to be running real world weather. The other thing to keep in mind, and this has been a source of confusion for a lot of people with weather and specifically wind conditions and runways. There's a funny expectation in the flight simulator community that if there's, say, you're going into a major airport and there's like, let's say a 6-knot tailwind on the runway that you're coming into, that's wrong, and that the traffic at that airport should be going the other direction because there's a 6-knot wind. That might be the way that it works at a very small airport where reversing the traffic direction is very easy. Tower would just announce it and everybody would just, the two airplanes that are sitting there would comply and they'd be off to the races. But at a very large airport, pretty much any Class Bravo airport and most Class Charlie airports, reversing the traffic direction for a 6-knot tailwind is not something they would do. Not unless the forecast showed that 6-knot tailwind would be sustained for at least the next 4 or 5 hours. And this is the case at, if you look at airports like LAX, it takes an act of God almost to reverse the traffic direction there. Airports JFK, they don't just reverse the traffic direction because a 6-knot tailwind has come in. So, keep this in mind. It takes a lot of wind and a forecast showing that wind is going to be there for a long time for the traffic direction to reverse at a major airport. And this is why you're sometimes being asked to land with a tailwind. Your aircraft profile should tell you whether or not you can support it. And by the way, if you listen to live ATC, you'll often hear situations where an aircraft is going into a major airport with a tailwind and has to divert to another airport because their aircraft profile can't handle it. And the airport refuses to reverse their operations direction because a single aircraft profile can't land. So that aircraft ends up getting diverted. We model this, right? And as annoying as that might be to you as a flight simmer who just wants to fly your flight plan, our goal is to model the real world. And I actually find that this part of what we do to be super cool. So. That's my speech on wind. I know it wasn't really what I wanted to mention here, but it does come up a lot, and it's a source of a lot of confusion. And this is one of those areas where we as flight simmers sometimes forget that the real world works a lot differently than it does inside of our flight sim. And how cool is it that we have a system now where things like NOTAMs and PIREPs and wind conditions at airports are all now handled the same way that they are in real life. So very cool. The dev team, it's myself, it's Ryan, it's my dad, Gary, who I'm going to have you guys meet in probably not next week, but the week after on this. And then we've got Tom that we added who's working on some amazing stuff. The reason I wanted to mention this here is because we've got a funny situation where sometimes we'll announce a new feature or a new thing that we've done. And not meant, I know the feedback isn't meant to be, combative or hostile, but we do get feedback that says things like, well, why are you working on that when, you've got these other problems that need to be solved? Why would you be doing that when, we need to get the vectoring in, or we need to get terrain awareness and things like that? And the answer is, well, we've got 4 people who can write code. And we've got a ginormous team of people who can help us with other things. For example, on our experts team, we've got a whole handful of people who are helping us with UK VFR, making sure that the airport frequencies and runways and stuff in the in Europe, not just UK VFR, in Europe VFR, making sure that the data is correct. Because there is no good single source of VFR data in Europe. I said single source. There's lots of individual sources that have small pieces of the truth, but no single source of the truth. So a lot of this stuff has to be, done by our team, and I'm very, very proud of that. That's taking 0% of my time right now, right? It's taking 0% of the time of any of our software engineers. So I mention this because I want you guys to understand that we announce a number of new things, a number of types of new things. Oftentimes, those things require no developer support whatsoever to get them done. Why? Because it's a testament to the platform that we've built that can be expanded and scaled and modified and customized without a developer having to go in and do it. And, the work that we're doing, the European VFR, is a fantastic example of that, where we're making significant progress without development support. So let's just keep that in mind and say thank you to this wonderful team of admins and experts that we have. Now over 30 people on those combined teams who are able to provide support, help, enhancements to you guys. All of them volunteers, by the way, and all of it is able to be done without impacting our roadmap or our development. So really good stuff. All right. Let's go on, because I give you this little preamble, this little speech, because we have one more thing for this week that I'm excited about. And we have special thanks to Sven, who you guys met, I think it's been almost a month ago when we did this. And this is cool, right? First of all, the cabin crews have turned out to be one of our most popular features. People love this, not just because you can hear a cabin crew talk, but because what they say is highly specific to your flight, and you can interact with them. You can talk to them. They'll interact with you. You can ask them to make announcements, and they'll make announcements. You can ask them anything you want, and they'll respond in obviously as the cabin crew that they're designed to be. So iFred has announced or created 7 new ones. One is I probably won't be able to pronounce these. Dutch Peter, he's always on the verge of freaking out. He just wants to go home. Georgina, she's I'm sorry, apologies for the typos here. She's has a cooking and beauty channel on Insta, but she still gets called back to work sometime, and she probably is just going to want a selfie with you. We've added Lee, the Korean comedian. I was told this is Mademoiselle Piaf, and if I said that wrong, please don't be offended, but she's a famous French singer and apparently very popular with our French pilots. Victoria, the proper British lady, one of my favorites, actually. I think she's quite amusing. Vienna Calling, this is Leopold, who's concise and professional. And my very favorite one of any of the new ones that we've added, special thanks to Melanie for the idea, is your mom. She loves you, and she's proud of you, and she just happens to be the flight attendant on your flight with you. So I'm very excited about all of these. And if you have ideas for more cabin crews, toss them over to Mr. iFred, Sven, and he can add these fairly quick. But I love that this, these kinds of things, because of this incredibly flexible, amazing, capable, customizable platform that we've built, we're able to expand these kinds of capabilities without having to impact our development roadmap. And that, to me, is one of the coolest things ever. So, thank you to everyone for all of the love and support. We have a wonderful Discord. I would love it if you guys wanted to hang out there. I do have one other request. If you guys don't mind, as we start to prepare, actually I have 2 requests, 2 things that I'm looking for that you guys can help me with. The first one is, as we start to prepare for support for MSFS 2024, one of the things that we could really, really use is some sort of an inside connection to the development team at Asobo or Microsoft, so that we can begin some early development and testing of the feature set that's going to be available to us there. They have a very, very tight circle that they communicate with, and they tend to not go outside of that circle. So I suspect that we have customers and supporters who may have some connections there that could potentially make an intro for us and hopefully get us early access to MSFS 24 so that we can make sure that on launch day we're taking advantage of all the cool new stuff that will be provided there. The second thing that I could use from you guys, if you can help me out, is I'm looking for not necessarily a scenery developer, but a scenery objects developer. Somebody who can create the 3D models that live inside of the simulator. Ideally, both for X-Plane, P3D, Microsoft Flight Simulator, etc. We have some really interesting plans for the future that rely on us being able to use to add some custom 3D objects and getting some help from someone. Again, whether you're an existing customer or you know someone who might be interested in helping us out, would be immensely useful in making sure that what we deliver is super high quality. So those are the two things. If anybody within the sound of my voice is able to help us out with that, I would love it. Sim objects. Thank you, Tom. We're looking for somebody who can help us create sim objects for MSFS and ideally the X-Plane equivalent as well. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next Thursday on Vectors to Final. And I think next Thursday we're gonna have something very interesting to show you. I'm really looking forward to it. Drop by our Discord, say hello. If you're having issues or problems, also drop by our Discord, and we're happy to give you guys a hand in getting things working. And if you see anybody on the team, who has that red name in our Discord, please tell them thank you. The vast majority of those people are volunteers. In fact, I think we're all volunteers at this point because I know I'm not getting paid either. So I think everybody that you talk to in there is a volunteer. I do have one more thing. Thank you, Justice. I got one last thing. I can't believe I forgot about this. Justice, I wanted you guys to meet. Let me go back to this one. I wanted you guys to meet a member of our team here, Mr. Justice McCracken. I almost forgot about this because we've been talking for so long. This completely slipped my mind. So, one second here. Let me jump in here. And let's bring Justice in. Let me pull up my OBS thing because I'm a better developer than I am a presenter. And Justice, are you there? There we go.
I'm here.
We did
Man,
it. Thanks,
I can't believe my boss forgot about me.
Well, this is what happens when none of us get paid. Is we all I can do is cut my own pay by half if that would make you feel better.
Gotta love volunteer teams.
Exactly. So welcome. It's great to see you, and I've got a million questions for you that I think these guys are gonna want to know about. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Everybody's teasing me for this. They should tease me. I feel terrible. It was so dumb. I get in the zone when I'm doing these things. I'm the worst corporate executive ever because all I do is follow the slides. Right?
Well, I was just kind of zoning out, and all of a sudden I heard, "See you next time, guys." I'm like, "Oh wait, hold on."
Yeah. No, I'll never.
Good,
thank you, Asa. I will never live this down. I feel bad. And hey, look, you got a banner just like mine behind you.
Yeah, from that fancy convention we went to.
Fancy show that we did. This is so cool. All right, man. Yeah. I got questions for you.
Go for it.
I guess the first one is tell us about yourself. You have a strange hobby.
I do have a strange hobby. So I do quite a bit of odd stuff, some weird nerdy things that we all might be a part of this whole flight thing. But apart from this, my main hobby is called the SCA, the Society for Creative Anachronism. It's a pretty fun hobby. We dress up in armor and recreate medieval events.
Did you say you dress up in armor?
Full 12 gauge steel armor, helmets,
which is good
works.
Because normally something like this would get nerds like us, bullied a little bit. But I have a feeling if you're wearing full armor and carrying a sword,
this is not your typical foam combat. Yeah, you hit hard, you get hit hard, and it's a lot of fun. You get thrown around.
So you've been hit hard. That actually might explain some things.
It does, yeah. My dad says it a lot.
No, I love it. That's a really cool hobby. Okay, so how did you get into flight simulation?
So I was actually interested in it most of my youth. Grew up in it, kind of saw it, but I never really used it. It was not something my family ever really had access to growing up. Never had the space or the money or the time to do something like that. A whole lot of extracurricular stuff growing up. So now that I'm an adult, I have my own money and my own space, and now I have a flight simulation hobby. So one day I just decided to buy a Logitech yoke and pedals and just went for it.
I
So
love it, man. That is
yeah, now we're here.
so cool. So you have been with SayIntentions for an extremely long time. In SayIntentions time, I mean, we're new, but
Yeah.
how'd you find us?
So I was in another Discord and just heard some chatter about this weird VFR ATC program that's in creation. Has this small website. Looks like it's from forever ago, but it has some pretty cool features on it. Uh, uh, Click join. Had a little beta sign up at the forum bottom. Signed up. Forgot about it for about a month. Mid-December came around, and I was just kind of messing around with my flight sim at 2 a.m. like we all do, and I got an email invited to say Smart Sky .ai
Yeah, that was
for their
back
beta
when we had
program.
a different name. In fact, there's a funny story about this. We first launched with the name Smart Sky, and then we found out that there was an aviation related company that was using that name, and so I didn't say we launched with that name. When we were early beta, I was using that name, and we ended up changing it for obvious reasons. And I like SayIntentions better. But
Oh yeah.
after we changed it, we had somebody come into our Discord and accuse us of stealing their business idea, including they also accused us of stealing the logo from Smart Sky, our own Smart Sky, right? Like because we just took the logo and we changed the name and we changed the website, and then what they showed us screenshots of our old stuff and said, well, you guys are just copying what they're doing. And I had to laugh because it was us, right? That was I thought it was funny.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
so you got in here really early. What other stuff have you done? What other jobs have you had? By the way, for those who don't know, this is Justice McCracken, and in our
Yep.
Discord, he goes by McCracken. So, what else have you done?
Yeah, so previously, I've got a pretty varied work history. I started out in customer service when I was 18, kind of moved along that to a natural transition to help desk roles, troubleshooting stuff, worked for Canvas, the big institution learning software that was big in the 2020.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a lot of fun stuff there, a lot of teachers, a lot of really cool people. From there, for whatever reason, I just decided I needed to get outside and became a solar electrician for a few years. Uh, Worked in solar on rooftops. Had a lot of fun with that, learned a lot of really cool stuff. But I decided those companies were not something I really wanted to work for. I prefer kind of working for myself. And so I started my own business in construction. Um, got my own idea, what I wanted to do, separated, quit my job, launched my business, and it's been pretty fun from there. It's something that's kind of winding back down a little bit now, but it's a pretty cool side project and keeps me busy.
Well, that is that's very cool. Okay, so tell everybody what it is you're doing for SayIntentions now.
Yeah, so do quite a bit, Say Intentions. It's if you talk to my girlfriend, it's pretty much all I do 24/7. But it's worth it. It's a pretty
Yeah,
awesome
the
program.
females in my house would agree with that statement as well,
Yeah,
as it relates to me too. So
I
yeah.
think I think the entire admin team might have a problem, but we'll visit that a couple of years down the road. So my responsibilities primarily are AI voice engineering. It's what I started out with. Say Intentions. It's my primary duty. From there, kind of tackled some other side projects here and there. Started the affiliate program for Say Intentions. Started reaching out to streamers reaching out to us. We got a program to kind of help reward them and get that launched. It's been wildly successful so far. We got over 50 affiliates. They've brought in a lot of new people to the software, and they've really helped grow our entire community. Really, we owe so much to our affiliates right now. Um, so yeah, reach out, kind of like a point of contact for the content creators. So if you are a content creator, feel free to reach out to me on Discord, and we can kind of set up some sort of deal. And then my latest project, SayIntentions, was the commercial branch that we just released. It's pretty exciting. We are starting to reach out to flight schools, simulators that are meant for profit or fun for the general public, stuff like that, and kind of getting our software out in their hands. It's very early, so we're just kind of doing a proof of concept development stage right now. So really, if you that's something that interests you, please reach out and we can do some pretty cool stuff with you.
Agree.
Yeah, so secondarily though, I do the blogs, the marketing emails, Google Ads, the customer facing websites, and just kind of make sure everything's looking good and we are putting a good positive message out there to the world.
And I know you mentioned this really in passing, but I want to highlight it a little bit, which is the work that you do on our voices. just making sure that all of the voices are in the right spot. We've got accents, we've got all this stuff. It's a gigantic project. I mean, I don't think people appreciate just how difficult and complex it is. It would be very easy if we just wanted to plug in voices, but they would all sound terrible, right?
Well, I mean, if we wanted to like assign just a couple voices to whatever frequency end up in a certain country, that would be pretty easy. But if you took a look at my tables for each country, we have so much information for each one. And after we got to about 150 voices months and months ago, I realized we had a pretty crazy scope for these voices. So we've got organization, and it's pretty in depth. We're up to about 600 live voices or something like that. Pretty close.
That's correct. Yeah,
So
we have over 600 live voices. Which, by the way, those voices each have derivatives for the different languages that they speak, because we support 14 different languages right now. We're adding more soon, by the way.
yeah, so each voice sounds slightly different from each language to language,
and that takes a little bit of adjustment for each one. So in reality, I got to pull the math out here. It's not 600 voices; it's actually closer to 8,000 voices that we have.
I'm not doing that in my head.
I had to cheat. That we have in the system right now, and that's super incredible. And by the way, I'm excited about the sort of revisiting the voice from the sort of grassroots, ground up level again. And Justice will be a big component of that effort. So if you see Justice in the Discord, tell him thank you for that as well.
And Speedy as well. Speedy Retreat in our Discord. He is going to be helping me out with doing a lot of the quality control work. So we got a pretty good plan.
Yeah, Mr. Speedy Retreat is amazing, and it's I don't think people understand just what a giant job it is to get voices that sound just really good.
It's rare when that happens.
It's hard. This is early tech. This is groundbreaking stuff that we're messing with, and what we want to be is at a point where you hear a voice and you're not sure if that's a person on the other end or not. And we have a lot of voices that fit that category. But we have a lot that are not quite there yet either. So this is an ongoing effort. This will never be done, right? We'll never say, all right, boys, voices are done. We did it, right?
Pretty much. So, it's a balance between accents and quality. It's a fine line.
Yeah. Well, it's any aviation related goals. You got a new simulator recently, which is kind of cool. Anything else that you're working towards here?
Yeah, so with that simulator, I hope to do a little bit more real practice, get some instruments installed, and kind of beef it up a little bit there. So hopefully within 5 to 10 years, after both my personal business and maybe SayIntentions has matured a little bit more, and my son has grown up, I hope to start my PPL within about 5 to 10 years. But I'm starting the education now, trying to learn as much as possible, absorbing as much as I can from you guys, our incredibly intelligent community, and just seeing where that takes me.
I love it, man. All right. Thank you for joining us. It's great. I really want our community to understand just how much work goes into making this product real, right? This is a crazy vision that we're trying to do here. This is something that nobody else has ever done. We're on the absolute cutting edge forefront, often exceeding the current capabilities of the technology. What a time to be alive, right? But it can't be done because this is so cutting edge. This just can't be done with one or two people, right? We are way past that, and so
I can laugh at imagining you trying to tackle this solo.
Oh, there's no way. There's absolutely no way we would be making very, very, very slow progress. So our team of developers, admins, experts, I just can't say enough about them. So thank you, and thank you everybody for all of your wonderful support.
It was great meeting y'all.
Now I can say we'll chat with you next Thursday. Thanks, you guys.